You've stopped into another episode of Dad Crossing where myself, Nick, and my co-host Sean will have real, honest chats about the highs and lows of dad life. We'll laugh together at the craziness of parenting and the silliness of our kiddos, and we'll support each other through the challenges and tough decisions of fatherhood. Whether you're a seasoned granddad or a dad-to-be, we promise laughs, relatable, and sometimes raw talk, and expert help to tackle the tough issues. Not from Sean and me, but from the amazing guests we'll have on the show. So let's be dads crossing through life together. Welcome to a Wednesday Dad Life, Dad Crossing. You just heard my son on Monday have a conversation of what he likes and what maybe doesn't like, and then he flipped the script on me and talked a lot and asked me a bunch of questions that was not on the script but was very fun. And so now I am very excited to be having on our podcast Duane, which you may know because Sean calls him a lot the Duke. But either way, he's a good friend of mine, and we're going to be talking about foster care. Welcome to the podcast, Duane.
Yeah, thanks. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, well, we're excited to have you. And beyond that, I want to know, first off, where did the Duke come from? Before we, delve into the important stuff of foster care, let's first have some fun. Where did the Duke come from?
We'll have to go back a few years to back in, I think, my senior year. My now brother-in-law, for some reason, just started calling me that, and it just kind of stuck.
There you go. Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and we used to be, back in the day when Dad Crossing was a live stream thing, we were on Twitch, yeah. It's been so long since we've done it, I kind of forgot what it was called. And that was Duane's handle. We're doing this one in person as well, which is abnormal for us, as you know. Sean's normally across the pond, so just hanging out here in the basement. And I'm interested a little bit if you can just give us the scope of your family, what kids do you have and stuff like that, so our listeners can get an idea of kind of your perspectives.
Yeah, my oldest is 14, just turned 14. I guess 4 months ago now. Geez, time's really flying. And that is my oldest daughter, and then my middle daughter is going to be turning 13 here soon in January. And then my youngest daughter just turned 10 here yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah, yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday as of this week ago-ish when you guys will hear it. But yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so that is my biological children. And then as we'll hear, I've had a few foster kiddos in the mix there. And currently we have 2 placements. We have it'll be 3 years old here in 9 days. And then we have a 8-month-old. So
yeah, so you have pretty close to the spectrum.
Yeah.
I mean, 9 months to 14 years. I mean, you're pretty close to the whole scheme of things.
Yeah, we kind of started over a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
which will be part of this podcast. I appreciate Duane because he gets to experience everything before I do. So then I can watch him and learn and ask him questions when I get there. So it's
see
great.
How I failed and you
can
learn from it.
And just tell me how you wish you'd have done it, how you did it right, all that fun stuff. That's part of the reason for this podcast in general is so dads can hopefully learn from each other. This, as we say in the intro, is not Sean and I giving you sage wisdom because we may not always, probably don't always have it. So, but we're here to learn from each other. So, let's delve into a bit. Start at the beginning of the foster care journey, I guess. And I may not even know where this begins for you, but when were you maybe foster care?
Yeah. So even back when my wife and I were dating, we both, and kind of independently, just had a desire to adopt. And so we didn't know what that was going to look like, when that was going to be. But around 2016, 2017, we we went to a meeting at a local foster. Goodness, I'm trying to think what they even call them. It's a place up in Kalamazoo, but the local foster care agency. There we go.
Okay.
And we thought that adoption was what we were going to do, but through that and through some meetings later, a year or two after that, we really felt the call to do foster care. And this might be a little bit heavier on some of the callings and on what we feel God has called us to do than what you're used to on this podcast. But,
sure, that's fine. That's absolutely fine.
But that's really what we feel it is we feel it's a calling that we've had to do foster care and to help the kiddos when they're in their most vulnerable spot. And the way that we have chosen to do that is through foster care. And so,
yeah. So when did you, so you kind of both knew you were just waiting for the life opening, I suppose, that you wanted to do, that you guys decided that you wanted to do something, what you thought was going to be adoption coming in the fire. When did you guys make that, did you look at each other over a dinner table and be like, think now's the time we're going to this meeting, how did that happen?
Yeah, to be honest, I don't really recall. And I was talking to my wife a little before this and just making sure I had my ducks in a row here.
Fair. Good job, husband.
And yeah, we're just like, yeah, I don't remember the exact year that we decided, yeah, let's start doing this. We started our license in the process of getting it around, I think, in 2019.
Okay.
Because it takes us, I think, it's under a year, but it takes a while to get through all the classes and the training and to do everything you need to do to get your foster care license. So I actually started the process around 2019.
Okay. All right. So you went to this thing for possible adoption, kind of had a left turn, change to foster care. What was the thing that made you think, let's do foster care instead of,
Yeah, it's kind of a hard question.
Sure.
I think it really just came to, this was kind of what we felt was our calling. We just both felt like this is what we needed to do. So yeah, it's not a great answer, but that's kind of what it was.
It's the answer, so it's a good answer.
It's just what we felt.
Yeah. So you guys just thought, well, this is where we think we're going to be. And we do that in life all the time, right? We point in a direction and then we're like, oh, wait, we get there and we're like, oh, we got to turn a bit to the right or left or something or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. So explain to me or kind of go through a bit of that process. So you decided foster care. And then, I know as your friend, I know it just seemed like I was always getting going to a meeting or going to a training or going to something walk me through a little bit of that process of just what was it like to get the foster care license?
Yeah. So I'm trying to recall if this is the current name of the curriculum that they do, but it's called GROW, or it was. Drawing a blank on when they changed it. I think they changed in the last couple of years. And I believe it was 2 4-hour classes. I could be getting this completely wrong, but I believe it was 2 days that we had to go and sit through people just talking about the trauma that the kids go through and just some of the situations and things you should and shouldn't do and can and can't do as foster parents, and just getting familiar with some of the situations you may be dealing with and some, like I said, the trauma that the kids go through and how to handle it. So then there's background checks that they have to do, and then they'll come into your house and do a home study, and you'll have a questionnaire that goes pretty in depth on your childhood, your marriage, your kids. You have to get some references, which you guys were a reference for us, and there's 2 or 3 references I think you have to get. So yeah, it's kind of the high level view of that.
Sure. So when you're going through this process, kind of adjacent, but back up a bit. So you got 3 kiddos currently, yours.
Mm-hmm.
What did that look like when you were like, hey, so we might be adding more kids, So what was that process like, and how did they take it, I guess, if you're willing to tell them?
So, yeah, we have tried to include the kids, the biological kids, in the decisions that we have made to, should we we'll get a call and say, should we, take this kiddo into our home and love on them while we can. These are the situations, this is what we know, and we will get their opinions. Now, obviously, they don't have the end all be all say in
Sure.
it. That's up to my wife and I.
Mm-hmm.
But we still take into account how they feel about things, and we have turned some kiddos down that we just felt were either going to be too much for our current situation. Maybe we already have a couple other placements, and it's just going to be too much for us, or yeah, it just didn't seem like this was something we should do in the moment. We've taken a couple breaks throughout the process when we've had some placements leave. So yeah, we try to include them. Hey, do you guys feel like you need a break after a placement leaves? And yeah, just get their opinions and their thoughts on things, because this is a pretty profound impact on the kids too, on the biological kids in the home. And I keep saying biological because that's currently all we have. I mean, if we had adopted kids, it'd have a profound impact on them too. But so yeah, it has been something we've tried to weigh out with the kids. And is this going to be too much on them? Is this too hard? Because it does put them through some traumatic experiences. They've learned some things about the world that, I didn't particularly want them to learn at their age. Just some of the heartaches and the challenges that can come. But yeah, we also have used it as a learning opportunity and a opportunity to show them that this is how you can show God's love to kiddos that need help, that are in a desperate situation. And this is how you can love on them and just be there in their critical time of need.
Yeah, that's awesome. Were they excited? Like in the very beginning, were they excited? Were they like, oh, no, not really? Like when you told them we're thinking about becoming foster parents, getting into the foster care system. Like what was their initial reaction?
Yeah, I think they were excited. I mean, I think there was mixed emotions from them because fair. There's just so much unknowns, and there still are with any placement. And I'm going to say I'm going to do my best to say placement and child, because I'm doing my best to try to keep privacy where it should be and not. Yeah. So it's not that I just think of these kids as just a placement, just a number, just a something there. It's just they're much more than that. They hold a very special place in our heart when they come into our home.
Sure. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Everybody, there's a bunch of rules that need to be followed here, and a bunch of people. We don't want to put anybody in harm's way for anybody to learn anything that shouldn't be learned from this conversation. So yeah, that is a good disclaimer, I guess I would say. So you said the process took about a year to get your foster care license. So you explained it, but like, you said there was a home study, did that seem really invasive? Because when you're talking about it, it seems really invasive.
The questionnaire is pretty invasive. It's a little hard. They go into some pretty deep things, like I said, about your childhood and your marriage and your family. The home study is not really too bad. They come in and just make sure things are put together. You have a safe place for kids to be, whether that be the water's safe, if there's weapons in the home, if they're locked up, if any, even sometimes, trims on the window, sometimes, they can have exposed nails or things like that they want covered up. But yeah, the home study is really not too bad. The most invasive part would be the paperwork.
Sure, that's fair. So you get your foster care license. How fast do people knock on your door?
Yeah.
Once you have your license in hand.
Yeah, we got our foster care license April 1st, 2020. So if anybody, at least in the U.S., remembers 2020, that time frame, it was total chaos. We had 3 kids in private school, and they didn't have online classes, so they sent them home with their books for mom and dad to teach them. And I was working at a place that was deemed, what do they call it?
Essential.
Yeah, essential. Mandated, whatever.
Yeah.
So I could work remote. So I moved to remote full time. And yeah, 5 days later, April 6th, we got our first call. And we accepted our first placement that evening. So that's the other thing that's really fun about it, is you typically have to decide very quickly, if this placement is going to come to you or they're going to look for someone else.
Sure.
So I think that one came at like 1 a.m. That was a late one. And so it came pretty quick after that. I assume that's pretty normal. Not really sure, but yeah, foster care is definitely a need in this county.
Sure.
So
that's a good. I would be interested. I mean, because I'm aware from you, and also what I do with Habitat and what that puts me into, that it's a need here. I would imagine it's probably a need everywhere. Like, I mean,
that's fair.
But I don't know that. Like, but that would be that'd be interesting to get like the feel for what it's like in other places. But so 1 a.m, a child that you don't know much about. You've never met them, obviously, but you don't know much about. They get dropped off with a suitcase, some clothes. Like, what does it look like when you take in a placement like that?
So it depends. We have gotten a backpack of things. We've gotten nothing. It just kind of depends on the situation. Sometimes, depending on where the kids came from, you don't want the stuff that they came with.
Fair.
So, yeah, that was a siblings that we took in that time. And yeah, I think they came with a backpack though.
Okay. So you just got to be ready on the fly, and you're trying to, I'm sure, make that child feel comfortable in a crazy situation, because they probably come from something even crazier.
Right.
And you're trying to get them feel comfortable, but also find the things you need and acclimate your biological kids. And so, yeah, that's gotta be crazy. Well, it's gotta be crazy going forward, but like that 24-hour first, period has to just be nuts.
Yeah. It was exciting. It was scary.
Sure.
It was a lot of things. I mean,
exciting because you finally you felt the calling to help a person, and you got there. Is that why you're like,
thanks for clarifying. Not exciting that this situation happened. No. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, that you felt like you were called to something, and you were finally able to put it in action after a year of home studies and all the other stuff. So when you take this placement on, and you start moving forward with them, like, what kind of help do you get? Like, what does that look like?
So again, in our county, we actually have some great resources that within the first 24 hours do their best to get you some things that you need. We've gotten clothes from them. We've gotten some diapers. We've gotten even a mini crib from them.
Awesome.
We're blessed from what I hear, because I mean, this is the only county I live in, but from what I hear, we're blessed to have some of the organizations that we do in this county. So yeah, there's some initial help that you get from some organizations, and then there's some continual help that you can get from other organizations as well.
Okay. So is it like a DHA, so Department of Health and Human Services, was what a DHHS caseworker? Is that who usually drops the kid off to you? How does that normally work?
Well, we have our license through DHHS, so yes.
Okay.
But it would depend on
Oh, I see. I see. I didn't even know you could get licensed through other people. That's news to me. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of private agencies, and that was the one in Kalamazoo that I mentioned at the beginning. There's quite a few in the area.
Okay. All right. So they drop them off. You're getting acclimated as foster care parents. Like, when do you see them next? Like when do they come back, or like check in on the kids or check in on you? Like what does that look like?
Oh, yeah, it's been a bit since we've had a placement. I'm trying to remember. I believe it's the first week they have to come back, and then it's, I want to say, monthly after that.
Okay. So yeah, I don't see you're on your own, but they're not checking in on a regular basis. It doesn't sound like
no, not really.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's go back to the first one, because we are living in this environment, this world of nobody should enter your home because there's this deadly virus, and now all of a sudden you're letting somebody, and probably you're letting a child, and probably other people come straight into your home so that you could do this thing. Like what was that like?
Yeah, there were some initial questions we had, like have these kids been, have they been tested for COVID? Because at this point we knew pretty much nothing about COVID.
Yeah.
Other than it was COVID equals death, I felt like.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah.
So yeah, there was some initial questions from us and some concern, but everybody just masked up. I think we wore masks then, didn't we?
Oh yeah. We were heavy masks in April of 2020 at that point.
All of it's kind of a blur.
It is, right? Like, you have, like, that whole year just seems like, I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
That's like, it's like before Christ and after Christ type thing. Like, literally, that's how I do something. I'm like, had we gone through? Oh no, it was pre-COVID. Like, literally, that's how I do time now when I think of that year. So yeah, so you masked up and you just kind of acclimated to the situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just do. Is it kind of like a do your best kind of thing? Does it feel that way somewhat?
It definitely does at the beginning. It takes a little while to get used to, just the differences that you're going through, and it's also the kiddos that you get in your home. Their world's just been turned upside down, they've been ripped out of, the only home that most likely they'd known. And for us anyways, we haven't gotten placements from another foster family. It's always been straight out of the biological family that they've been from. So very little information is known. Typically, they share what they can and what they know, the workers do, and yeah, you just kind of do your best and fight through it. Yeah.
Yeah. So they get your first placement gets dropped off. I'll go back to your biological kids, because there's a mixed emotion of excitement and like, oh, what's going on? How's it gonna feel? So when you actually take in your first placement, how did that go with your kiddos, if you don't mind asking?
Yeah, the first, I think they were pretty excited at the beginning. So they definitely were on a high, I feel like, of just, getting to help these kids and be there for them. My kids are awesome. I've watched them grow a lot through this, and just their selflessness that I didn't know was there. So it's definitely been a learning experience for all of us, for sure. But it's the first couple weeks, really, they're kind of the easy time, I feel like, and then it gets a little harder.
There's like a honeymoon kind of stage.
Again, this is our experience, but
sure.
the kids start to get used to you, and then you start to see some behaviors you don't see originally when they come into the home. And so again, this is, we've only had 5 placements in the last 5 years.
Only. Sure.
Well, there are some families that have had a lot more.
But you've had some of those placements for years.
Yeah.
Right?
The second placement the first one we had only 6 weeks, and then they found a family that could, because they were siblings that we couldn't find a home. The county couldn't find a home that would take all of the kiddos that night. So they were working on finding it. So they had some other siblings that were in another home, and they found a home that could take all of them.
Gotcha.
About 6 weeks later, they left. And so then we had a break until June, I believe. And then, that placement we had for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
So, that one we had very long time.
Yeah. I'm just going to say that was one of the things watching your guys' journey that like blew me away. Like when I think of foster care, when I thought of foster care before watching your guys' journey, I used to always think like you take them in, you're there, and then they find somebody and they're gone, And I was just like watching you guys with some of these placements that were there for like what you're saying 2 years, and I was like, that's not foster, that's just parenting, man. Like I mean, I know foster care is parenting, but like that's just like I just never in a million years thought that as a foster care family you would have kiddos in the house that long. But you guys, amazing. I also just step back because I squirreled for a hot second. To step back, I think it's interesting because you said, God felt that you felt that God had called you guys. And I guess when I thought of you guys, I thought of you and Nat, right? Yeah, you and your wife. But then what you said I thought was really interesting of like, I didn't know how selfless. Yeah, okay. I wasn't sure I was saying that right. I didn't know how selfless my kids were and how awesome they were. And I find it amazing because you're like, listen, I didn't know. But it seems like God was probably calling all you guys, right? Like the whole family to this. And you just felt like it was you. And I don't know. Is that how you felt it? Did you think they were like, did you think of the kids in that way at that time in the very beginning?
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I didn't. It was more just Natalie and I and how we felt we were called. But I mean, we went as a family. I mean,
yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden God reveals this thing to you of like what you didn't even know your kids were capable of,
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. All right. So, first placement you had, what were some things that you found? I guess at this point I'm interested in knowing what are some things that you wish you would have known or things you would tell somebody who's looking at foster care that you kind of ran across that maybe that year of lessons and trainings and blah 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 didn't really teach you. Like, does anything stick out in that form?
Yeah, I wish I had a great answer for this one.
Oh, I'm sorry, I threw it at you. That's
no,
that's on me.
That's fine. No, I think that there's a couple different things that I'm trying to figure out how to articulate. One being the resources that we do have available. We didn't know that originally. There are quite a few, and I wish I could sit here and name them all, but that's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
my wife does much better with that. But there's definitely resources there. The one thing I think that is pretty important is I don't know, it's a fancy word, I guess, for babysitting, but it's a little more than that. Is respite. Having somebody there for you to be able to have a break, to be able to check in with your with the kids you have in your home permanently, whether that be adoption or biological, and just spend some time with them. I mean, they're gonna be there when whatever placement you have is gone, when they move to their forever home, if whatever that situation may be. Hopefully they go back to their parents. That's the end goal, right? Is to reunite them with their parents. So I guess a couple of things I would say is make sure you're reaching out for help. And to those who aren't foster care parents, there's lots of different ways to get plugged in, to be able to help and support foster parents, whether that be doing respite care, which is, essentially just watching the kiddos, just being there for them if they need some time, supporting organizations like the ones that I've mentioned that help foster parents when, they really need it. We've brought two-day olds into our home, you know, having that visibility to see, hey, they might need a meal. They might need, somebody to hold the baby so they can get some rest. I get we're not going through the birthing process, but it's a lot of work taking care of newborns regardless.
Sure.
So I kind of went down a rabbit trail there, but
No, you're fine.
yeah, it's, I guess it was just mainly reach out to organizations, reach out to family members, reach out to people who can help and be there for you, because you are going to get burned out. You're going to need help unless you're, I don't know. I'm not sure even Superman could do it, but
Yeah. No, I hear you. I think it's really great. Not only being willing to ask for help, right? Like, I mean, I guess at some level, nobody likes to say maybe I can't do it, but
right.
being willing to understand that, like, there are organizations out there, people out there that are meant to help you, because we all know that you can't do, like, you just impossible to do this without reaching out. So don't feel like not reaching out, I guess, would be something.
Yeah, I think what do they say at church? You can't do life alone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can't do life alone, and you can't do foster care alone either, because that's all part of life. So yeah. I really appreciate that. You had mentioned, spending time with the kiddos. How do you prioritize that, or how do you work that in when you do all of a sudden have a newborn that comes in with, like, what, like, was it a day? Did you even get a day notice, or is it like when that placement came in?
It was same day.
Same day. Yeah.
It
Okay.
was later that night. I think it was 9 p.m. We had to go buy a car seat because we didn't have any more infant car seats anymore.
Why would you need those?
Yeah. So we had to go at Walmart and get a car seat, and I think we might have had 5-6 hours, I think, for that one, maybe a little more.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Oh, 5-6. What more do you need to bring? Most people get 9 months. You get 5 hours. There you go.
Yeah. We might have had 9 hours. We'll go with that.
I remember getting the text being like, "Hey, we're at the hospital." I was like, "For what?" "We're getting a baby." And I'm like, "We're what?" So yeah, no. So, but how do you work with still being dad to these 3 girls while being a dad, essentially, to this brand new placement? Like,
it is not easy, and I'm not gonna say, I always do the best at it by any means, but in our house, we've tried to do a one-on-one time, and we'll have different days of the week that we'll take time just to spend with one kiddo. My wife will do 1 week and I'll do the next week. And that's one way we've tried to make sure we're staying connected. Except when life gets even more chaotic, and then that falls off the calendar. But definitely that's one way. The other is, like I said, taking some time, having somebody watch the placements that you have, so you can go out and spend the day with the kiddos that are in your home permanently, and just being intentional, with that time.
Mm-hmm. I like it. So we're at 36 minutes. So I'm interested to know, before we wrap up, like, what is some final, like, if somebody's listening to this or already thinking about it and they're like, I'm kind of interested, what would you say are first steps? Like, what would you recommend for somebody to do if they're interested in foster care? Where do they go? What do they do? What should they be thinking about?
Yeah. I mean, for us, it was starting at DHHS. We looked at a private agency. Didn't seem like it was the best fit for us. And our local DHHS agency really seemed to fit well, I would say contact them. And some questions to ask, I guess, would be, I think for us anyways, it was we wanted to make sure that we only took placements that were younger than our youngest.
Okay.
For us, it felt like if we had ones that were older coming into the home, it would be harder for our kiddos to not want to follow some of the behaviors that they may be seeing that might not be best. So ask yourselves, talk to, your spouse about what age group do you think is going to be best? What are some things that we can or cannot handle? There's certain situations that these kids have been in that they're not, I'm not sure how to put it tactfully. They're not good situations. They have seen things, they have had things done to them that they should not ever have had done. And that can have a pretty big impact on those kids, and they can be doing things that that they don't even realize, and that can be an issue for your kids. So just what do you think you can handle? What do you think your family can handle? And then I would say if you have, if you believe in God and, you call yourself a Christian, I would say pray about it.
Sure.
Make sure that you are following what he is asking of you.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. I really, really appreciate your time, Duane. I thank you for what you've done for these kids in your life, for that God has put in your life, for you and your wife following your calling. And again, I just thank you for your time.
Yeah, thanks for letting me talk.
No problem. Hey, you guys, everybody have a wonderful rest of your week. Sean will be back and he can tell us all about his vacation, and we can chat about all the normal everyday life starting next week. So for the rest of you, have a wonderful, rest of the week. Like I already said, this is Sean's part. It's not mine. So I don't know how this goes. So I'm just going to do what I normally do, which is see you later, guys.
Thanks for tuning in to Dad Crossing. We're here to remind you that this podcast is made by dads for dads. It's a place where all of us can come together, share a laugh, and tackle the wild ride that is fatherhood. If you want to keep the conversation going or just need a safe space to chat or ask for help, you are always welcome to reach out. You can find me, Sean, at Sean_Abbott, and you can find my good friend Nick at Nick10Do. And of course, give our social media platforms a good look over, because that is where we share all the updates, all the laughs, and all the things dad life. That is, everything is at Dad Crossing. For anything more, feel free to drop us a message at team@dadcrossing.com. And until next time, stay strong, stay connected, and remember, you're never alone on this journey. We'll see you in the next episode of Dad Crossing.